Thank you. It's my honor to be here. Obviously, to take on this task of being the head football coach. I'd like to thank Dr. Crow, obviously Ray, all those in the audience. I also like to thank the players that are here, the former athletes. And you look at their faces, you know who they are. The Mike Hayneses, Rod Woodsons. You see them all. These are the guys that are part of ASU athletics. Not only are they great players, they're great men. And I think when you're a football coach, the thing you realize right away is that it's about winning football games. That is a fact. But it's really using football to build men. So when they leave this university, and they've done a nice job, these guys are equipped to deal with what's out there in the real world, with all the issues that we have in this world. If they're not pro football players, they'll be good fathers, they'll be good men, they'll be good husbands, they'll be good citizens. These men that stand before you to my left are those men. They represented this university. I understand the importance of what this university stands for. It's not the players or the athletes that play in the jerseys. It's not their names on the back. It's the name on the front of the jersey in the history of this place. When you think of all the donors that have contributed to these young people, contributed so they could have success here, the buildings that are going up, the facilities, that's their passion for this university. I have that same passion because of the vision that has been created by Dr. Crow and Ray. I'm willing to meet that vision. When Ray talks about competitive consistency, I understand exactly what he's talking about. Athletes from all over the country, whether it's here locally, should be coming back here. Guys in California and Los Angeles should be coming here. Why is this not the destination? Why can't it be? That's my job. That's my job to go into those homes. Tell those parents, this is the place you want to send your son. Because when he leaves here, he will be like one of these men over here. He'll be fully ready to deal with anything that comes across his way. He will become a student athlete. You have a great base here of players. You have a great community of people that support this university. I want to be a part. I'm on the train, by the way. I'm on the train. And I'm going to ride it. I will ride this train until it stops. It's not going to stop. We're going. We're going with you. And if you want to board on a little bit later, we got a seat. Just like Ray said, we got a seat for you. Might not be comfortable, but you'll have a seat. This is about this university. It will never be about me. This university is bigger than any coach. It's bigger than any president. It's bigger than any AD. It's about the young people that leave here. That's what this university is all about. It's about what they will contribute in our society. We'll make them the best players they can be as athletes. I can guarantee you that. The one thing I've learned a long time ago, coaches, they don't give players talent. God does. It's up to us to make sure that they exhaust their talent here. They exhaust it. Because when you don't, you cheat yourself. And we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to build an environment here where we can nurture people, where we can understand that these players have questions. They want to know why. I grew up in a football world in the era that I played college football, where if you asked the coach why, you were threatening authority. That's not the world we live in anymore. These young people want to know why. They want answers. Why is knowledge? It's up to us to give them knowledge. It's not questioning authority. They want to know. I understand that. I've had the privilege. Some people will question, well, you haven't coached in a long time. You haven't been on the field. Turn the TV on Wednesday. I'll be back in studio in Bristol. And I'll be coaching football, by the way. That's what I do. I coach football. And I've been coaching football my whole life. And this is why I'm here today, because of the vision. There's something that a great former player said here. Pat Tillman. He said, when he talked about passion, he said it ignites your soul. Football ignites my soul. It's what makes me go. This is what I do. I've done this my whole life. And some people will say, well, you know, you haven't coached in 9 years. There's a man that I played for, and you'll know who he is. His name is Dick Vermeil. When that man walked out of Philadelphia's locker room, when he was burnt out, the first person he saw in that locker room was me, because I played for him. He was like my second father. 13 years later, after he retired from being on television, ended up being a pretty good coach, didn't he? He didn't forget how to coach. You don't forget how to coach. They're not bringing me here to play. I can't play. Although I'll tell you, I got one hit left. But I can't play. But I got one left. I'm not here to play. I'm here to build a program on top of the foundation that's already been built here. That's what we're here to do. We're here to be relevant in the Pacific 12. We want to be relevant. We want to be one of those teams that people say, hey, you go to Arizona State, you play in that stadium, be careful. I don't want to hear about SC or Stanford or Oregon or UCLA. I heard about that my whole life growing up. Frank Cush recruited me to come here as a high school athlete. I know the tradition of this place. I did not come here. I went to Cal. I was in the Pac-8 before they called this thing the Pac-12. Think I don't have history here? I got rich history here. I have rich history on the West Coast of playing football. I understand the importance of this game and what it does for us all. And before I open up for questions, I'll tell you this about football. The thing you miss most, and these players will say it, when you don't play or you don't coach, is the huddle. You miss the huddle. You miss the ability to walk in the room where collectively we're players that are from everywhere, every race, every religion, every color. It don't matter. Because you got a common goal. You got a common goal. You're trying to be something special as a team. We don't huddle anymore in our society. We don't huddle. That's the problem with it. Be quite honest. When you become a part of a team, and you become a part of a football team, and when you look to the left and you look to the right, there's this bond that says, I'm not letting that guy down. Not today. Not ever. These guys know what I'm talking about? We were all fortunate enough to be in a different huddle when we left college. The National Football League. Those men right there, we're all united. They get it. That's what football does to you. And when you've played football, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. The competition, walking in the huddle, and looking at your teammates and say, I got your back. I'll fight for you. That's what football's all about. I'm proud to be the head coach here. And I promise you, whatever I have, and I got a whole lot, I will work tirelessly, and I will be committed to the vision of Dr. Crow and Ray Anderson. Thank you. I'll open up for questions.
You mentioned that you'll be in Bristol on Wednesday. How much longer will your ESPN duties last?
Friday. And then I'm out recruiting. We got some young people coming in here this weekend. And I can't wait to hug them, and grab their neck, and tell them why it's important for them to come to this university. But I owe ESPN to go back. There's a lot of people that have been there 9 years. They've given me the ability to coach from a monitor. They've given me the ability to come in your home and coach. A lot of friends there. This is a very tough decision for me, to be quite honest. I've had chances to come back to coach, trust me. But I'm not a guy that publicizes it. I don't do that. Because I think it's a bad look for the university. Because then the next coach that takes the job, if I would say I'm not interested, they say, well, you got the second guy. I know how that works. I'm a media person too. So I don't do that. I don't put people in embarrassing situations. This was the right place for all what Dr. Crow talked about and Ray talked about. But I owe those people back in Bristol. I want to hug a lot of those folks because it's important for me to do that. When you sign on to do something, you finish. You finish. You don't tap out. You don't say, well, I got something else, I'm going to leave you hanging. No, I'm not. I'm going to commit to what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to finish my work week out, by the way. And then I'll be here Saturday night. And then I'm going on the road next week. And I can't wait to go on the road. I'm probably going to gain 10 pounds probably going on the road. It's okay. You know, you got to eat food in people's houses and all that stuff. That's all good. I like that. No problem. My workout schedule will be disrupted a little bit. I know a lot of people are concerned that, Coach, you've been out of football. You're 63 years old. Huh? Who put a number on when you could coach football? Don't tell that to Nick Saban. He's 66. Don't tell that to Roy Williams. Tom Izzo's a good friend. He called me. He said, Coach. He said, thank you for what you do. So, yeah, I'm going back to work. But I'm going back to work, guess what? When they introduce me on Wednesday morning. Arizona State's head coach. That's what they're going to say. It's pretty powerful. Next question. Yes, sir.
Walter Vino, Devil's Digest.
Devil's Digest, huh?
Yes, sir.
Where you located, my man?
Right here in Tempe.
Okay, Devil's Digest, okay. I'm Catholic now, I'm a Christian. Watch out them devils. Just saying. We're good, brother. We're good. I know. I ain't taking it personal.
When do you plan to meet with the assistant coaches and the players, and what aspects of your career do you think is going to, or what do you hope is going to resonate the most? Is your career in ESPN, career as a coach, career as a player?
All three. It's knowledge. We all search for knowledge. I think I can contribute knowledge. Know this, I delegate things to people. See, I believe you delegate things to people so they feel like they're part of it. That's important to me, delegating people. So that they understand that, I'm going to delegate it to you. I'm a good listener. I don't have all the answers. Trust me, I don't have all the answers. But I'm always in search for knowledge. And I think when you delegate responsibility to coaches, you uplift them. You give them the courage to say, Coach, can we think about this? I'm not one of those coaches that says, hey, we can't change. I think sometimes change is growth. And you have to be willing to do that. So I'm okay with that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, Coach,
Yeah.
welcome to town.
Thank you.
My name is Phil Aston. I'm with KJZ, the NPR station here. We occasionally cover sports. So first question, it's a two-part question. Number one is, you talked about, and Dr. Crow talked about, so did Ray Anderson, about the fact that this is maybe more than a football hire. Do you feel that way? And maybe Dr. Crow can answer the question about why this sort of extends past the athletic department, this hire?
You want Dr. Crow to answer that?
And I'd like you to talk about that if you have any.
Sure. Let Dr. Crow first. He's more important than anybody in this room, by the way. Let him answer that question first.
So I think the only thing that I would add is it's important because it seems to be happening in college football that you can see with the coach changes that are going on this year that there's just this model just keeps going and going and going where entire crews of coaches are fired, new coaches are brought in from some other school, the ante goes up, the cost goes up, the model just keeps moving back and forth, interchangeable parts back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and somewhere along the line a model of consistent performance, consistent structure, a team of individuals that are supporting the football program over longer periods of time. That's what we're looking for. And Herman has, I should say, Coach Edwards has experience in this model. Ray has experience in this model, and we're looking to see if we can form a college version of that model.
Dr. Crow said it exactly right, and that was our discussion. And I'm going to meet with the assistant coaches later on today, by the way.
Fred, hey, just one other thing, please,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Yep.
Your relationship with Ray, you guys go way back.
Yes, sir.
How much did that influence you coming here? If it wasn't for Ray, would you be here?
Well, there was two parts. It's Ray and Dr. Crow. I mean, this is why you have these discussions. This is why these discussions before, when people would call me, I said, it's not aligned right for me. It's not the right situation. As I said, I had a great job. I can go back tomorrow and continue to work. I'm committed to this. This fuels me right here. This is special. This is a special place. And I think sometimes when you get immersed in your community, you don't really realize the good things that are happening. You know, it's kind of funny because we worry about so many other things. You say, what is this university really doing? We don't step back and say, look what this university has accomplished already. And it has a lot to do with the vision of where they want to go, and I want to be a part of that. That's important for me. Yes, sir.
Herman, Craig
I'm
Gordon
sorry.
from Arizona Sports. You said you don't forget how to coach.
Right.
Clearly there is innovation in coaching.
Yes.
In defense, in methods.
Yeah.
How do you manage to keep abreast of that innovation given your other duties? And how do you plan to make up maybe for some of the gaps?
Well, I don't have to make up because I visit college campuses all the time. And when you sit where I sit, see, this is what people don't realize. When you sit at ESPN, I'm not just watching professional football. I'm actually watching college football. That is our farm league. When I'm invited to go to Alabama, and when I'm invited to go to Michigan, and these places where I've talked to the teams and visited with coaches, and I see the innovation. I sit down there. I'm always constantly learning. So that's not a problem for me. The thing we have to realize now is there's so much innovation and there's so much change is how do players learn? That's the critical part for me. How do we teach players better, especially in college? Because they're student athletes first. They're not professional football players. They're student athletes first. Well, how do we teach them in the time restraints that we have with them? And this is why I think where we are now with the ability to get information quickly. You know, this is the new generation. They process information very quickly. And, you know, they multitask. Their brain multitasks. I know that because I coach Under Armour All-American game every year for the last 8 years. Some pretty good players down there, by the way. And I see that.
And then, Coach, how many times have you won that?
I don't want to talk about my guy Mooch, but 7-1. He always says I get the best quarterbacks, but hey, actually I was getting another good one this year, but I can't coach it anymore, so that's okay. How about this? I coach it my first year. I go down there and you get 90 of the, 95 5A players, right? And so my first meeting, I'm sitting in there with the players, and I said, okay, Jameis Winston. I said, Jameis Winston? He said, yeah. I said, you know this guy over here? And he says, no, who is that? I said, his name is Amari Cooper. And he goes, you guys stand up. And the offensive coach is sitting there. And I said, Jameis, this is Amari. Amari, this is Jameis. I said, here's the plan. First day. Jameis, you throw it to Amari. Amari, you catch it. Scored 40-something points. They winning that pretty good. That's kind of football. You know? You got a good quarterback, you got a good player, give him the ball. Doesn't change.
Doug and then Chris. Can you give us an idea of when you first started exploring this idea? And at the time, were you on board, or did Ray really have to kind of sell his vision, Michael Crow's vision, and maybe why he thought that you would be a good fit?
No doubt. And, you know, look, I've known Ray over 20 years. And we're friends. I mean, first of all, we're life friends. And when this situation kind of arose, I said, well, I'd like to listen because it's you. And I understand you. And I said, you know, obviously, Dr. Crow has to be a part of this as well. And as the more we discussed it and the more we talked about it, I said, this is a great model. This is making a difference. You know, our legacy in our life is this. Do we understand that we all have this ability, regardless of what we do? We sit here as media people. There has been media people sitting covering football way before you folks walked in this room. Did they make a difference with tomorrow in mind for you? Will you do that? That's kind of our life quest. Will you make a difference for the next generation? And sometimes we don't think about that. We think about our own self rather than those that will follow us. That's your legacy. That's your mark. I was taught that by my father. The most powerful possession you own, the most powerful possession you own as a person is your last name. It can't be bought. And how you live your life will tell your story. It'll tell your story. Happens every time. It's the most powerful possession you give your children, the last name. When they receive it, you want them to receive it in good standings. That's your legacy. And you put it on your children to make sure they carry that name. That's important to me. Football has been my life. It's taken me and given me opportunities I could never imagine. I'm honored. I am honored to be an ambassador for the great game of football. That's my life's work. It's always been my life's work. I understand it. Hopefully I answered your question.
Chris and then Jeff.
Chris Cartman, 24/7 Sports and SunOilSource.com.
Boy, that's a long title, man. Wow. You can have 3 jobs with that title, partner.
I feel like I do sometimes. Can you just speak to how much thought you put into what needs to happen organizationally and the conversations with Ray and Dr. Crow about those things, and what are the key things that get accomplished as soon as you possibly can in those regards?
Well, the key things, I think, for me to meet with the staff, first of all, because our lifeblood is athletes. And the next thing I want to know is when I meet with the staff and the recruiting department we have here and all the things that we go through to evaluate players is, and I told Dr. Crow this and Ray this, hey, what is our DNA? Man, I don't know that. I got a perception of what I think should be the DNA of a player that plays for Arizona State. If I ask you this question, Stanford, a Stanford athlete that plays football, I know what their DNA is. It ain't hard to figure out. You just know. You say, they're going to get these kind of guys, they're going to graduate, some will play pro football, but they're always going to have good teams. I don't know. I know Coach Shaw over there. Like I said, I watch a lot of football. But I look at their DNA and I go, okay, what's our DNA? Who are the athletes we're going to go recruit? We need to know that. We need to know that as a coaching staff. We need to know that as a scouting department. So when we look at players, we understand these are the type of athletes we want. We got to determine that. I don't know what that is now. I haven't met with those folks, but I'm going to meet with them. And I might have a couple suggestions. Just to say. We'll see.
Jeff and then Craig.
Yes, Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. Could you just talk more about how,
Oh, I'm sorry.
could you talk more about how you think this new model is going to work with you, working with the people in administration that are going to be sort of in this new role, how that's going to work from a coaching standpoint? And then also, some coaches would not want to come into a place where they may, there may be assistant coaches that are already retained. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'll answer the last question first. First of all, that question was posed to me before. It said, what about coaches that have already been retained? And they're people want to phrase it this way. They're his coaches. No, they're not. They're football coaches. They're good football coaches. They're good football coaches. But you say, well, no, I don't want you because you're a football coach. When I turn the tape on and watch your player play, What are you doing to help this guy? That's what I want to know. Can you make this guy a better football player? You can't give him talent. But fundamentally and mentally, is he a better football player because he played under your watch? That's all I want to know. Can you develop the players that we have here? That's all I care about. That is my main goal. As far as administration goes, with Dr. Crow and Ray, there's constant communication. Like Ray said, this is like a little bit of an NFL model. When you're the head coach, you're always talking to ownership. You're always talking to the GM. It's constant. It is constant. There is a link between those three. And if you really historically go back to the National Football League, for instance, if you look at some of the successful organizations that are in the championship games, now they might have a dip or two, but we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You talk about the New England Patriots. Now, obviously, Bill Belichick's there with a great owner. Yeah. You got Captain America, too. That helps. It's Tom Brady. That's what I call him. You watch certain organizations, and they continue to have this success. It's consistent. Now, there's times when they might not make the playoffs, but it never drops where it's like, what just happened? That's the model we're looking for. That's the model we're trying to build here in football. They've done it on other levels of sports here. Why can't we do it in football? That's our mission. That's why I'm here. That's my task. I get it. I love it.
Craig and then Doug, and then we'll move to this side.
Herman, Craig Morgan again from Arizona Sports back here.
Yes, sir.
Paint a picture for us of you walking into a recruit's living room. How does that scene unfold?
Well, it's obviously looking at their family members and asking them this question. What do you expect out of your son? But more than that, this is what I'm going to do for your son. When he leaves my watch, hopefully he'll be a graduate from here, because I'm going to press him to do that. And whatever talent he has, I'll exhaust him. And if he's good enough athlete to go to the next level, he'll be prepared, mentally and physically. If not, he will leave here at this university with a degree, and hopefully he'll say this. And I've had a lot of players tell me this. I'm a better man for playing under that guy. I'm a better man. That's my mission. We'll see if it works. I think it will, by the way.
Or Doug Haller again, Arizona Republic. There are a million complex rules when it comes to recruiting.
Woo! Yeah.
How do you plan to get up to speed on those?
Well, it's real easy. You ask questions. You don't do anything. I know I can't mention an athlete's name. I know that. So when I get to work Wednesday, hush is the word. I will do nothing to embarrass this university when it comes to rules. I'm a kind of rule guy. When you grow up in a military family where your dad is a master sergeant, you get the rules. You understand rules and regulations. You get that part. Sometimes you don't agree, but they're there for a reason. And I'm not going to edge the rules or fudge the rules. I am not going to embarrass my father's last name or this university. I can promise you that. We will do it the right way. No exceptions. We're going to do it the right way. That's how it should be done. Because when you start doing things the wrong way, and you're showing 18 and 19-year-old young men that, you know what, you can move the line. Really? Yeah. You keep moving the line, and all of a sudden, when they leave this university, they think that's what life's about. It's not about structure. It's about my talent will allow me to move the line. Now, if you want to build them right, there's always rules in life. And we don't always have to agree with them, but they're there for a reason. They're there for structure. That's important to me.
Tim, and I think Paul had one.
I got the mic.
Oh, man, you got the mic, brother. Don't drop the mic.
Coach Tim Ring, CBS Sports here in town. Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend.
Ray last night in the statement referred to you as a CEO
Yep.
coach, which kind of infers that it may be different than the traditional head coaching role. Could you kind of maybe go into that a little bit, maybe some examples of how your role will be different, what you're doing, what you're not doing, compared to the way it's always been done?
Well, I think a lot of coaches, when they get these jobs, they become dominated in the fact that I got to do everything. I think this is where you got to learn how to delegate. That's what good CEOs do. They hire people with talent and they allow them for success. Look, when you're a leader, your number one goal is this. You serve them, they don't serve you. You serve the people you hire. This is why you go out and hire good people. And then you give them the vehicle so they can be successful. Now, they'll be held accountable. They will be held accountable. I will be in every room as a coach. Now, do I fall on the defensive side of it? Yeah, I fall on the defensive side of it. But I'll be in every room. When I became a head coach, it's kind of ironic because some people say, well, you're the head coach, you're on the defensive side. I never went in the defensive room. I sat with the offense. You know where I learned that from? Tony Dungy. We came out of college at the same time together, played in the All-Star games. I was one of the coaches on that staff when we built that Tampa Bay thing. And the first thing Tony told me was this. The defensive players will assume that I'm going in their room. You're in their room. You're the assistant head coach. I'm going in the offensive room. I will delegate responsibilities to coordinators and to assistant coaches. And then I will hold them accountable for how those players play. And anytime I see something going awry, I will make mention of that. That's what you do. You don't just coach the players, you got to coach the coaches. See, some people just say, well, you just let the coaches go. No, you actually coach the coaches. Because they deliver your plan when they walk in that room. You can't be in 10 meeting rooms. And I'm not one of those guys, I want a camera in every meeting room and say, well, what is the coach doing? I'm not doing that. I'm going to just walk in there. And I'm going to sit in there. And I might ask the player a question. Say, hey, you ran the power. Aren't you supposed to get up on the backer? That's just how I coach. You got to have fun. This is football's fun. You kidding me? This is good stuff. That's what we do. Good question.
Paul and then Shane.
Hi, Paul Richardson with the Cater Show. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, my friend.
How much did the current players, the current student athletes play a part in you wanting to come here and the record and the things that they did this season?
They were very competitive. It's a very competitive group. Offensively, have done a lot of good things and have a lot of players come back. I think defensively, there's some things that I've looked at and we need to upgrade. We this is just me from far view, and I'll look at, as I look at the players, and we need to build. Look, college football is unique in the sense that it's a wide open game now, and I get that. But I still think this in football, and I've been around a lot of football, and I watch colleges that play, and I watch the pro people that play. You got to have smart, tough people. And you want big people, by the way. You want big people. If you look in this conference on defense, and I haven't looked at every tape, but I look at enough, and I know who's who. I look at that defense up there at Washington. Kind of interesting. You look at them play now. They're giving up about under, 18 points? That's pretty good in college football. I mean, I'm just saying. That's, those are the lofty goals that when you look at things, we know that college football is exciting because they score points. And nobody really, a fan that goes to the game doesn't want to see 7 to 10. I get it. I don't want to see 7 to 10. But I know this. All fans want this. In the last 2 minutes when you're winning, they're hollering, defense, please stop them. Unless you're playing fantasy football. But you're hollering, stop them. Can we make one stop, coach? Just one. So, hey, look, I want to score points as many as we can. But your defense got to come along too. In my opinion, defense travels. It travels. Defensive football travels. It always has traveled. It'll never stop traveling. And you look at some of these great college football teams. You can go to Alabama. You can go to Clemson. You can go to Georgia. You look at them, and you turn the television on, and you go, oh, boy. Look at that defense. Why can't we have that kind of defense here? It's against the rules. But you got to get the players. And that's why I said earlier, what is our DNA? I don't know. We'll find out. Then we got to work on it.
Last one, Shane.
Coach, Shane Dale here, ABC 15.
Yes, sir.
I mentioned the words territorial cup to you. What comes to mind, and just how big are college football rivalries?
Hey, Teddy Bruschi, come on. I'll be on TV with him Friday. When he was talking about this Friday I was on there. We do the tape off every Friday. We tape it off this Friday. He mad at me. He said, Coach, you going down there to interview at Arizona State? I said, yeah, you mad at me, Teddy? Coach, don't do. He said, Coach. I just said, hey, I know about it. I get it. That's what's so unique about college football, where it's changed in pro football. Because there's history. And families grow up watching it. And you understand the rivalries. Look, I played in the big game. I was a big game guy at Cab. You play Stanford, I get it, the big game. All right, I understand all those games. And what has happened in pro football, it used to be that way before free agency, right? But when free agency came into pro football, players don't stay on the same team. In my era, unless they cut you or traded you, you stayed on the same team. You played on that team. And fans followed their team and they knew the players. Well, now every 4 years, players leave. So the fan base is passionate about it, but the players are not, because the players don't know the history. If you come here, you will know the history of those games, because I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell them, these guys were part of that history. I'm going to bring these guys in and say, man, you talk about the game you played in. Tell these guys what that means to you. You kidding me? That's what college football is about. We good?
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Sign off.